Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my review of Avant-Garde Yumeko by Shuzo Oshimi. I am honestly surprised that we got this title released physically in English, but I'm very happy that we did. I love Shuzo Oshimi. I really enjoy his portrayal of um, like puberty and sexuality and kind of like um, exploring sexuality and perversion and all of these things that like we're told we're not supposed to think about or ever question or speak about or have conversations about or whatever. I really enjoy the way that he portrays a lot of these, really relatable topics. In this case, a pretty ridiculous way. Um, but Avant-Garde Yumiko is definitely not for everybody. I can completely understand, even just by the cover of this, why many people would be like, this one's not for me. Um, but this is a one shot. It is one of his um, older titles. Not super old, but not recent by any means. The story follows Yumeko. I believe she is a middle school student. She's like 14 or 15 or something. I don't know, maybe a little younger than that. My guess would be 14. She's become obsessed with the uh, desire to see a penis. She is like overtaken by this desire to just see one. And so she's going to the library trying to find a book that shows something that other than just a drawing of one. She's not having much success. Um, Clearly doesn't have access to the internet. Um, but she's just like can't control herself. She like really, really needs to see one. She's thinking about it all the time. And so um, she realizes that if it does art, she might have the opportunity to do a drawing of a nude model. And so she's like on a mission now. I'm going to do art so that I can, this is the means to the end. So she goes and joins the art club at school. And there is one boy, Shoichi, in the art club. There's nobody else in the art club. So he's there and he's like, oh, sweet, I'm going to get to talk to a girl. I don't get to talk to girls. And she's like, excellent. How do I get this guy to model for me in the nude? So uh, she very much blackmails him. Um, Not intentionally. She's not intentionally trying to cause harm, but she is very naively and completely selfishly causing a lot of harm. And so he begins to model for her, and she's just like, instead of it just happening once and her being like, okay, cool, I saw the penis and I don't need to see it again, it just becomes this thing where she just can't let it go. And she just needs to draw more and more and more. And yeah, it's just this very ridiculous, um, over the top look at puberty and um, libido and uh, youth that is quite humorous, I would say. And yeah, just pretty ridiculous. If you look at it from the lens of like consent and exploitation and all of that stuff, you can get yourself into a little bit of a like, this is uncomfortable kind of thing. But like, if you're able to just not think too hard about all that, this is pretty enjoyable in terms of just being a ridiculous look at puberty and a commentary on sexuality. um, and how society kind of, not kind of, very much is not okay with nudity, and then particularly um, penises are like very much censored all the time. You can look anywhere and see nude or almost nude um, women, but for some reason, male nudity is like completely off the table. Um, and so I think that while this is an over exaggeration of this desire, um, there is this like mysteriousness surrounding penises for people that don't have one. um, and I have heard from quite a few people, actually, because I do talk quite openly about sexuality and all of this kind of stuff with the people in my life, that, you know, there is this kind of mystique and also like fear of the unknown and like all of these weird feelings and thoughts surrounding this particular body part for those who don't have one. Um, and like obviously we have the internet now, you can easily Google whatever you want and find it pictures and videos and whatever you want immediately. But you know, particularly at a time where that was not the case, um, you know, it is, you know, curiosity for curiosity's sake. I mean, it was such a amazing discovery when you did happen to find a dirty magazine, you know, um, out and about, you know, in a park or wherever, right? Because you're like, oh my goodness, this is something that you like, I've never seen this before, and I can't ever, like, where would I ever see this otherwise, right? And so, um, yeah, I think this is a really ridiculous, over the top way to portray a lot of those feelings and confusion and all of that stuff. And I think, um, yeah, it's funny, it's ridiculous. I think if you have a good sense of humor about it, that this is something that you might enjoy. But I can totally, totally understand why people would be either uncomfortable with this work or just not interested in picking it up or reading it. But as a big fan of Shuzo Oshimi, I know what I'm getting into when I pick up his works, and I'm more than happy to just go along for the ride. And yeah, so anyway, if you've read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any suggestions of similar titles, please leave them in the comments as well. And yeah, thanks for watching.